So here's the components that form the assessment plan. There's 6 aspects to it. We'll look at the template, look at some examples about this too. But there are six aspects to it. It describes the mission of the program, who will be conducting the assessment, and how the results will be reviewed, the student learning outcomes that will be assessed, and the student learning outcomes that are used in the plan surely should match the ones that are in the catalog. As a brief explanation of the assessment methods, including the source of data, and the direct assessment measures that are used to demonstrate that students have attained each outcome, the indication of the goal or threshold for each student learning outcome, and in the timeline that the assessment will take place. It's a multi-year plan. You don't hit every student learning outcome every year necessarily, and typically it's done over a 3-year cycle. Now, our Office Institutional Research and Assessment, reviews and approves these plans, but this isn't a contract. As we look at this, it's really more of a graphic organizer about how we want to approach assessment for our program. It can be changed at any time, but our role with this is to ensure that it fulfills what SAC COC is looking for. So here's an example. Here's the template that's currently being used for student learning outcomes plans. So across the top, you see some basic information about the department, the program, the school, contact people, and so on. But you'll notice these same numbers line up with what was on the previous plan. Item 1 is the mission. Item 2 gets at who has responsibility for assessing outcomes, reviewing the results. And across the bottom, you see item 3, the student learning outcome that's assessed, the method that's going to be used, item 4, performance targets, item 5, and then the implementation schedule. So here's an example. Here's one of the programs at UNC Chapel Hill that has done a really great job with this. You see, it's a graphic organizer. It's really sort of laying out what we're going to be doing over the next few years. There's the mission for the program. It describes who's overseeing this process, how is this going to be shared, who's going to be managing the assessment work that's going to be done. There's a student learning outcome highlighted here. In this case, you're doing assessment using a capstone project, scoring work with a rubric. It describes a performance target. Students are going to exceed 70%. And in this case, you're doing this annually. Here's a second example that's a bit different. This is music. And in this case, they talk about the mission. They talk about who's responsible for it. And then compared to the other one, they're talking more about having an advisory committee working with this process. And they're highlighting more engagement with faculty in it. They had a student learning outcome. They talk about using a rubric to assess student learning. Their performance target's a bit different because they're talking about showing progression over time in the program. And again, in this example, they're doing this assessment annually.